Hello everyone and welcome back to the GeekWave. This is the low budget show. It's the show so low it has no budget. Welcome once again, friends, as we endure another round of me talking about stuff. And this time it's my pitches. I'm pitching to you guys. I don't know why. Just in a pitching mood. We pitched The Simpsons last time. This time we are pitching turning some classic arcade games into a feature film. Is it going to be a cinematic universe like I did with Smash Bros? Nope. This is just movies based on properties, because stuff is fun. You know, right now when I'm recording this, there's a thunderstorm outside, and I'm hoping the thunder isn't going to pick up on here if it does thunder again, but we'll have to wait and see. It is May, and it's going to be snowing where I am, so that's just fantastic. We're just in the best time of our lives. Climate change is real. I'm not going to get into it, but climate change is real. Oh boy. We do have some news to talk about this week. I do believe for the first time since I've done the GeekWave and headed down the route of the news segments, I think this is one of the first, if not one of the only few times in our 30-something episodes of the show where we have no Marvel or DC news. I don't have anything on either of those. There's some other properties we're going to talk about. I'm very excited to get into it. Starting with a big announcement. If you guys have watched my series of videos and podcasts, The Favorite Comics, you know one of my favorite comic books of all time is Lady Killer. And that Dark Horse comic just got picked up and bought by Netflix and is going to be produced and adapted by Diablo Cody and is going to star and be produced by Blake Lively. Now, I could sit here and I could talk about Lady Killer all day, every day, and just say I'm super pumped for it and excited. And that book is just so gorgeous and prestigious and so interesting. My problem with the announcement is the Blake Lively stuff, because I'm a fan of Blake Lively. I think she's an interesting choice. She's proven herself in certain properties to be able to go down certain routes. I don't know if she could do this. I think you should have tried for somebody a little more Rachel Brosnahan and try to go for that Marvelous Mrs. Maisel feel, as opposed to just like somebody who's known for funny. I would say even Jennifer Goodwin, who did Why Women Kill, would be a better fit than this, just because she's played that before. I'm not saying Blake Lively can't play that. I just don't see her committing or being fully invested in this kind of a thing. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I'm just like, I want to be excited for this property, but the stuff with Blake Lively, it worries me because she isn't the type of person who I think could pull it off. Now, I can't say who could actually pull it off or not, but I could just say, I don't know. It's interesting. It really is. I hope I'm surprised by it, and I hope it's good, because I want to see it succeed. I want to see Lady Killer get that audience, and they just collected all the issues. Dark Horse Comics just collected every issue of the book in a big trade. It's gorgeous. It's prestigious. I bought it recently. It is just absolutely great. So if this gets Lady Killer back into more people's lives, I'm all for that. I'd be excited to see what that does. I'm just worried it's going to miss the mark. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. And speaking of waiting and seeing what's going to happen, Red Sonja is getting another chance at the big screen. Absolutely fantastic. I think for a while Bryan Singer was attached to this. He's not anymore, thank God. But Hannah John-Kamen, who has worked on things like recently she did that thing, what the hell's the name of it? Brave New World on Peacock. She's in Ant-Man and the Wasp. You know her, you love her. She'll be taking on the title role of Red Sonja. I love this. I think that is just like a really good choice. Something that I don't think a lot of people would be initially like, yeah, okay, that okay. But I'm like, she's great. She's a strong, fierce actress. She gives me some Emilia Clarke vibes. Emilia Clarke's a great choice for stuff like this. I think this could work perfectly and be something that not a lot of people would be expecting. Is it going to work? We'll have to wait and see, but if you want my honest opinion, it can't be that bad. It's Red Sonja. It's going to work somehow. My dream is, and I don't know if it's ever going to happen, but my dream is that we see eventually this type of story leading to the creation of a Vampirella series. I kind of like that character. I'd like to see if that gets explored. And I'll say it right here to you guys, if Vampirella ever happens, my pick for the character is Sophie Turner. So, we'll have to wait and see. That's cool. Red Sonja, I'm very excited for that. And things I'm also very excited for. We got a new trailer for the movie Green Knight. And I just need to talk about this because it's so exciting, man. Like, there's so many other cool characters and stories and mythos and legacy stuff you can play with in, like, the Arthurian legend. The fact that we don't have to focus on Merlin or King Arthur and just have, like, the trail. I forget what the actual title is of the journey of the Knight Gawain in this movie. I can't remember what he was, like, the trial he went on or the mission he went on, but it's like, this is going to be exciting, man. Cool tree-looking dudes, some cool talking foxes, some great perspectives of giants and shit. Give me more of this. You know, I have been sitting on a pitch for a Bronard de Noir story, which is another one of the knights. They called him the Good Knight. He wore, like, the coat of his dead father, and he wore that until he avenged his father's death. I would love to do that kind of story. If that ever got to make another one of these, come on, man. The Green Knight just looks great. I'm super excited for this film. I hope that by the time it comes out, I'll be able to go to a movie theater in my province, because it's not looking like it. And if there's one thing that's going to get me back to the theaters, it's not Black Widow, it's not Top Gun, it's going to be The Green Knight, because I want to see this on a big screen, just have such a visceral, pure experience where I could actually just experience something so beautiful and prestigious in that way. So it looks great. Watch the trailer. I cannot wait for this movie. It just looks fantastic in every form of the word and every idea of what it could be. I love it. I'm very excited for this. So July, I think, is when it comes out, or the end of June. I can't remember, but man, cool stuff. It's just great, man. It just looks great to like stuff again. And speaking of liking stuff again, so Kevin Smith talked a long time ago on, I think it was on his channel, and he was at PowerCon a few years back. He was working on Masters of the Universe Revelations. Great voice cast in there. Mark Hamill, Lena Headey, Kevin Conroy, a bunch of those fantastic people. And this is the kind of thing I like, where you're buying and you're getting actual voice actors to do these roles. Well, we got our first official look in the form of stills for some of these characters, and it surprisingly looks good. Some people might be like, oh, how's this going to look? What's this going to feel? Looks very close to the source material, very much like we were told it's going to be, you know, a group of people that have loved and experienced this property back from the 80s, making a modern and satisfying adaptation. July 23rd is when it will grace our screens on Netflix, and wow, does it look great. I just love the designs for every character. They're fantastic. You are playing with a lot of different characters, more so than I expected. Looks like Moss Man is going to be a big character. Robato's got like some stuff going on there. Sorceress, my favorite character is Sorceress. Absolutely. So having her in here, that's great. Evil Lynn looks, everything about it. It looks really good. It's awesome, man. Like, it's pretty cool. We can actually have good Masters of the Universe stuff coming to us very soon. I think that's a very exciting thing to see. I'm super intrigued by the concept of what this could become. So I hope it is satisfying, and I hope it lives up to my expectations of what this could be. I know Kevin Smith has just been on and on about how good it is, how different it is, how this is like the best thing he's ever worked on, the most mature probably, because it's not his standard Kevin Smith fare, man. And I like Kevin Smith. I like some of his stuff, but this just seems like it's an homage. And, you know, if this is the animation we're getting, it looks pretty good. Very Castlevania, too. I like that. That's very exciting. And, you know, sticking to the route of the 80s coming back to us in a big way, we kind of got our first look at Snake Eyes in the form of a trailer. And if I'm being honest, I'm excited for this one more so than I was for things like Mortal Kombat and Shang-Chi, just because it's Snake Eyes. It's G.I. Joe. I want to see those characters look good. But just seeing this, I think it was like a minute-long trailer for this movie, I'll be honest, it didn't sell me. It was too dark. It didn't show great action sequences. I'm curious to see how they're going to do this stuff with Snake Eyes actually talking, just because I don't think anybody really wants to see that. But for all I know, it's going to be good. I actually don't know, so I'm curious how it's going to play out. It's just interesting. I don't know how it's going to be. Like, Henry Golding's fantastic. The cast looks great. Baroness looks surprisingly good, man. I love Baroness. One of my favorite characters in all of G.I. Joe. That's a lie. She is my favorite. Baroness is my favorite character in G.I. Joe. And seeing what she could look like, that's exciting to me. I hope this is good, because I genuinely think you could do something cool with this property. unique with this experience, but it has to be satisfying, and I don't know if it's going to get there. I hope it does. It looks decent so far, and it's another one where I'm like, I'd love to see it in theaters, but if I don't get the chance, I don't know if I'm going to lose sleep over this. I was super excited because the cast sounded awesome, but from what I saw from that 1 minute, I wasn't blown away. Then again, it's a 1 minute clip. How am I going to get impressed by 1 minute? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see if this actually does satisfy. And that is it for the news this week. There's a couple other things, but who cares? Like, it's just stuff. Things happen. We move on in our lives. And we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back from that, let's jump into the world of the retro-ness that is a classic arcade game. It's not something I talk about a lot when it comes to this channel, but I like arcade games. I remember just having that feeling, and it's been a long time, but I was young. I'm a young man. There was arcades when I was younger in like the early 2000s, and I remember just having fun at them, and I haven't been to one in ages, not just because of COVID, but because I don't got the time. I'd love to, but like you never find like a clean arcade anymore, and it sucks. And I wish they still existed. Like one of the biggest theater chains in my country, actually, yeah, it's my country, not just my province. I'm in Canada, by the way. They have like some arcade games in like theaters where you can play stuff like that, but it's none of like the classics. It's like all updated bullshit, and it's not that fun. And I just wanted to be like, we're adapting a lot of stuff. This kind of came from the idea that we're getting a Tetris movie, a fucking Tetris movie. Why would we? How do you even do that one? That was like when I looked at it. I was gonna put it on my list, but I'm like, I don't know what to do with Tetris. It's blocks. I don't got anything for you. There's nothing there you could turn into a thing. It's just weird. But hey, I guess it could happen. So my idea then came, what if I were to take 10 different arcade games that you can find at like a classic arcade, go in there, you find the machine, you put your quarter in, you play the game. What if we were to take those and turn them into movies? Obviously, some of these games and some of these characters have appeared in movies before. Wreck-It Ralph has yielded some of my choices. You've seen them in things, I don't know, maybe Tron, they were in an arcade somewhere. But it's not uncommon to have these characters grace our screens, but I'm just like, what if we were to take them and I got to pick how we make the movie? Now, it was kind of hard to actually figure out how to decide what the movie was. I picked a genre for each one, and I was like, okay, let's kind of make a story out of this. Not like a full-fledged thing, just enough where you'd be like, okay, if I were to pitch the idea to like a producer or like a studio, this is what I would go with. And it's kind of interesting. I don't know. I like the idea. I love classic games, and these are more my style. Like, I don't own a console. The only console I own is a PlayStation 2. I do plan at some point to get like a PS5 because, I do enjoy games, but my bread and butter, like the things I spend most time on are the things on this list. Like if I can find a version of them, I play it. The only one I have downloaded on my phone is Tetris, but I just like, these are my things. These are my games. So first one, obviously the thumbnail, if you're watching this on YouTube, is Pacman. How do you make a Pacman movie? I think it's kind of easy, actually. And there's another one on my list that's kind of similar to Pacman in the style that it would present itself. So Pacman, I was like, let's do an action-adventure movie. That's the genre it would play with. And my basic storyline was we follow the expedition of like an Indiana Jones type explorer. That's Pacman. He enters like some old ruins or like an old temple or like an old maze kind of thing. And he's trying to find maybe like a hidden gem, and it could be like the berries or something like that. And he's being hunted by ghosts. Hunted/haunted by a series of ghosts that are following him, and they can come to kill him. And you could just make it, maybe they're like monsters, like it's the Minotaur thing, or you could do it like these are the ghosts of people who have tried to do it before, and they're stopping you from reaching the gem. I think that's all you really need for Pac-Man. I know, like, there's been a Pac-Man cartoon numerous times over. But if we were just to start fresh, I'd be like, yeah, let's just, put him in an Indiana Jones hat, send him into a temple, have him struggle to find some stuff. You could do like a great, oh my goodness, you could do a great like crane shot where we pull back on like the maze he's in. We see him running and the ghost trying to get him from different places. That would be pretty cool to see. You have to find that fine line between homaging the actual game and doing something original and creative. And I think what I went for here was just a fun, sprawling adventure where you can get back in the corners, get trapped by some ghosts, and find weapons along the way that could help you chase them away, but ultimately you're searching for that one power, that one thing that's going to make you the hero. You can have them talk. Who gives a shit? By the way, most of my choices are animated. There's certain ones. I think there's like maybe 3 that aren't animated, but you get it. You get it. You've played games before. You understand things. So that's my Pacman pitch. I'm not going to spend a long time on this, guys. It's going to be a shorter GeekWave, but it's just kind of fun to see these things. And my pitch for my second game is Space Invaders. Now, this one is easy. Come on. How many, films from, who's that guy? I had it on the tip of my tongue, and I was going to say Roman Polanski, but it's fucking not Roman Polanski that I was thinking of. Roland Emmerich? Was it Roland Emmerich, maybe? Could be. Independence Day, Day After Tomorrow. It's a science fiction movie. Aliens start to come down to Earth. You have to fight them away. You just get an elite team together. You get one of the top actors today. Dwayne Johnson would probably do it. Who's the next Dwayne Johnson? I don't know. Chris Pratt, I guess he could do it. You can make it a comedy. I wouldn't make it a comedy, but you just do a serious thing. Aliens are coming down. We got to put a force together to stop them. Make it your classic mid-90s science fiction thriller. It works. You literally... You have a script lying around, change the name to Space Invaders. There's not much you need to add to this one. And that's not a bad thing. I'm not trying to break the mold with my ideas here. I'm just saying, if I was a studio executive, I was like, we just bought a classic Atari game. We have everything on this console. Oh, we got Space Invaders. Well, how would we do that? We just polish off an unused, Independence Day script. Turn into Space Invaders. Even Futurama did it. They just referenced Space Invaders when Fry saved the world in one episode. It's okay, how hard could that be? Not hard at all. So I think it could work really well. I really like that idea. It's silly and fun. But it's Space Invaders. What else do you want? You don't have to do anything crazy here. Why should you, I should say? I have another one similar to Space Invaders. That, of course, is Asteroids. Now, before I recorded this, Asteroids, I was just playing it on my computer. I literally just pulled up the game online. I found it on a site that got it to work without downloading Flash or anything. And I just had fun with it. So my idea for Asteroids is it's in the same vein of Space Invaders a little bit, where it's an old school science fiction thing. But I'm it's asteroids. It's set in space. You're getting chased by asteroids. Let's make it a little more science fiction-y. I was let's take a very retro science fiction type crew in a spaceship. Your Buck Rogers era, your Star Trek era, your classic Star Trek. You put them together on a ship. It could be animated or not. It doesn't matter. You just get them all together. And they head out in space, and they get lost in this asteroid field. They have to figure out a way to get out without being destroyed, while they're also being hunted by a rival Martian. Because sometimes that ship shows up in asteroids, and I'm just that could be really cool. I mean, it's fun. I love the feeling of a retro science fiction thing. And it's not one I think you could do with Space Invaders, just because that title is just very jarring. It's in your face. It's Space Invaders, where Asteroids just yeah, it's asteroids. We're trying not to get attacked by some stuff that's coming at us. We try to evade in this classic area. A good 90-minute animated feature in the vein of a Star Trek. You could have your swashbuckling heroes maybe on jetpacks, flying beside the ship, shooting away the asteroids from the ship or something. It could be very fun. I like Asteroids. Everything on this list, actually. I think Asteroids is my favorite game next to Pacman. I just really enjoy what that could be, and I think it's a name that people will be oh, do you mean it's like the game? Yeah, it is like the game. You know how Battleship was kind of like Battleship, but it clearly wasn't Battleship. We just put Battleship in so people would watch it. Asteroids. Polish off an old Buck Rogers script, throw in asteroids instead of some other threat they could be facing. You're good to go. You're golden. You have it right there. It's perfect. I guess what this actually is, instead of me saying, let's make movies based off classic arcade games, it turns out it's just let's just polish off old scripts that we never used and turn them into stuff like this before. Hey, could work. Maybe not. Doesn't matter? Of course it doesn't matter. These are just things that exist. None of it has any bearing on our lives. So, what's another classic arcade game? Actually, I like this game a lot too. I don't know why. I just saw it. I'm is it Asteroids? It might actually be this one. Frogger. I love Frogger. It's a fun game. It's a fun concept. Here's my pitch for a Frogger movie. I'm amazed this movie hasn't been made before. Not my specific choice or pitch, but a Frogger movie. Who owns Frogger, and why haven't they been capitalizing on that title? It's such a good title. So, here's my pitch for Frogger. We did action-adventure, we did science fiction, we're doing a straight-up comedy. You get some, I guess, like an Aziz Ansari type, a Jesse Eisenberg type, one of those, like, really manic, weird dudes to voice the frog. I guess you could do, like, an Andy Samberg today, a John Mulaney even. And you get them to voice the frog, a Frogger, and basically it's this paranoid, anxiety-ridden frog who gets taken from his swamp and sent to like this laboratory, and the entire movie is him escaping from the laboratory, trying to get back to his swamp, trying to cross a road, get through the lily pads, get on the logs, and you could do more than just like the road and stuff. You could have him go pretty far ways. Like maybe he knows where his swamp is, and because he sees like a big tower that could be like a cell tower in the swamp, he's like, I have to get there. And we see him trying to cross big city streets and go down rivers and ravines and a waterfall and all this crazy stuff. All the time, he's having like a panic attack because he's not good at being outside of his comfort area. And eventually along the way, he meets some friends that help him out. He learns a little lesson that maybe it's time to be brave and do the right thing. I mean, you could add more to it. There could be more than one frog even. Like, you know, like the sassy girl one who's trying to get him out of his comfort zone, like in Rio. You know, any of that's possible. I just love the idea of just like this scared frog. Does he wear a tie? I can't remember. Does the frog wear a tie sometimes? I think on like the side of like the arcade machine, he does. Just put him in like some stupid clothes. Maybe he escapes from like a kid's like science experiment where they're trying to dissect him and he just like runs out the way and he's freaking the hell out the entire time. I love it. I mean, maybe don't make fun of people with like anxiety problems, but come on, like it's a cartoon frog. It could be an analog for getting out of your comfort zone and finding something good along the way as you do that. And it could just be a fun area to explore. Like, it's Frogger. You're going to do, again, the crane shot where you pull up and you see him trying to cross the road, jumping away from all the stuff. It'd be fun. Frogger's a good game. Let's make it a movie. It's animated, of course, not a real frog. I ain't Jungle Booking this. It's going to be silly. It's going to be like the Nut Job, but over the hedge. Nut Job meets Over the Hedge mixed with Rio with the frog talking. Yeah, okay. I just sold it to myself. I made it. I sold it to myself. So, I have another arcade game on here that I kind of talked about before. I've talked about these characters before, but not in this setting. What is a classic arcade game that has a lot of history and a lot of, well, not even history, because I think this was the start of it, and then a lot of future stuff with the characters? That's Donkey Kong. What if we take the basic premise of Donkey Kong and turn that into a movie? It seriously works. You know, it's like your little plumber hero trying to rescue the pretty girl from King Kong. That's your movie. It's an action adventure. You could make it a period piece. You could set it in a certain time. Yeah. Let's say the 80s when this came out. Maybe even earlier, because what kind of a plumber wears overalls like Mario? It doesn't matter. You know, and I don't think it's a complex story at all. It's another simple one where it's like you get your leading man. For me personally, it's Rob McElhenney. If you're ever going to do a live action Mario, it's Rob McElhenney or nobody. He's the only one that could pull it off. And he's going to go save Pauline. Not Princess Peach. You make it Pauline. Maybe they have like a history. They're going to get married. Maybe something happens. You could make it like kind of like a horror story too, where maybe like a monster emerges from somewhere. It's like a mutated gorilla that kidnaps her, and he's got to go chase her, and he's throwing shit at him. It could be fun. It's not complex in any regards of the word, but it could be fun to explore. Just a fun area to play with. It's Donkey Kong, it's Mario. The game literally set itself up. The princess, the lady's captured. Go rescue her, man. Works for me. Let's talk about Centipede. That classic game. I don't like Centipede. This is one of the games I'm just like, I don't want to play this ever. I have very little fond memories of Centipede, and I don't really care to see anything else explored in the game. But if we're going to do it, just do it like Space Invaders, but make it bugs. You know, don't make it like certain aliens. Make it big old bugs. That's one way you could do it. And I'm like, yeah, that would work. People like the big bug attacks, Starship Troopers and all that shit. Or if you wanted to get really weird with it, you could do it like a Bug's Life, and you could have like the two warring faction of bugs. You know, like your Capulets and Montagues, and not like they're in love or anything. But you just have like your warring faction of bugs, and like instead of being like the space epic, it's just like a low scale thing in like someone's backyard where there's like two groups of bugs that are fighting, and then you could do like the POV shot with all that stuff. Again, it's all about the POV shots getting us that feeling of the classic video game. And Centipede, it's not one I'm fond of. I've never really liked this game or connected to it, but I do own the Funko Pop of the Centipede character. Bug's Life. Two warring factions in some kid's backyard. Microscope it. Boom, what's going on down there? Silly stuff. Does it need to be anything more than that? Absolutely not. It's Centipede. You're not going into this expecting something to break your mind. So, following Centipede, I have one that I'm like, I've never played this game except for once, and I didn't really enjoy it. That, of course, is Q*bert. Q*bert, the character who's appeared in probably more movies than anybody else on this list, because he's in 2 Wreck-It Ralph movies, he's in Pixels. What the fuck why does Hollywood have a hard-on for Q*bert? He sucks. So here's my style. Q*bert's all about like jumping on certain platforms to make them a different color. Let's take that basic idea, take all like the mini foes and characters that randomly appear throughout Q*bert. It's an animated movie, another anxiety-ridden lead character. Send them to a Hunger Games style arena where they have to stay on certain platforms to survive. Basically, Saw meets the Hunger Games meets Battle Royale, and it's just like a bunch of different type of monsters fighting each other. Even maybe there's like a bunch of different Q*berts of different colors and hats and shit. They're all trying to survive and get on the yellow platform not to die. It's dark and twisted, but I have nothing else for Q*bert. There's nothing there to play with. He climbs a hill, he turns a dot yellow. It's not even a fun game. It's boring. So, I want to kill the little bitch. I don't want to play with Q*bert, so I'm going to kill him. Seriously, though, if you have a good pitch for a Q*bert movie, let me know. I was debating even putting him on this list, but I'm like, I don't want to make a Tetris movie. And I didn't really want to do like a Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat or any of those stuff. And I already had like enough science fiction stuff. So Q*bert, Hunger Games Killing Machine. There you go. That's all I got for Q*bert. What else would you do? Please let me know, if you are so smart at everything in this, what would you do for Q*bert? Because there's nothing you could do. There's nothing you can add to that character. Speaking of nothing you could add to this character, Dig Dug, a game, I played it once, who cares? Again, we're getting to the stuff where I'm like, I understand there's an appeal for this. It's not particularly for me. So Dig Dug, my idea, another action adventure. This one's very much in the vein of my Pacman pitch. Because what else do you do? These games virtually all do the same thing. Left, right, up, down, shoot, jump, pass, whatever. They're all the same thing in that regard. But my idea is, like, it's a different type of explorer. They stumble into a mysterious temple in the desert. They have to go underground to find it. And, of course, they face off against the evil that lurks inside. It's just like another little layer, another little tidbit to play with in there where everything's a little bit different and weird. Just a fun area to explore. Dig Dug, it's fun. It's got a cute name. It could definitely be something fun, like an animated movie about like an explorer. Then again, Dig Dug could just be a knockoff of Minecraft. So if you have like a Minecraft pitch lying around, and for some reason we didn't make Minecraft first, let's make this one. That's a topic I think I want to come back to. Let's look at the most popular games of all time, come back and make a movie franchise out of them, because I think you could do it. Probably more so than you could with a Dig Dug movie. Because what is a Dig Dug movie? It's just The Mummy, right? But you're digging underground? That's what I'd do. Huh. I wonder if this podcast is going to be good. I don't know anymore. Like, this all just sounds like me ranting about stupid shit I don't want to do. Weird shit. But that's Dig Dug. What else are you going to do with it? So, I have 2 more choices for you. The first one is a comedy version of the game Burger Time. Now, here's my pitch to you. Here's my pitch for Burger Time, because it's making burgers. What else are you going to do, really? Realistically, what else would you do? Here's my pitch. It's Bob's Burgers meets Some Like It Hot. You take a group of criminals, they could just be like, it's a comedy, so they don't have to be like serious criminals. They're just like a group of criminals. They did something. It could just be like bank robbery, so there's like no death or rape or arson. And, they just randomly decide to evade the law we should pose as a burger joint. And then they become really successful. And like there's a cop that was chasing them that frequents the burger joint. And he's like, you guys look familiar. Have I seen you somewhere? And they're like, no, sir. You don't know us at all. It's just like, it's like the Bob's Burger humors with like the idea of Something Like It Hot, where at any moment you could be caught for being the thing you're not. That could be a really fun area to explore. Could just be a really cute, dumb idea. I really like this one, actually. I'm like, this actually could be a movie. This feels like it could be something to play with and explore. Just a really stupid comedy. Could be for kids, could be for adults, depending on how silly you want to get it. Burger Time's a great title. It could just be really cute. I really like this game, and I really like the idea of just like, yeah, let's play with that concept of just pretending to be something we're not, turning it into a comedy, and seeing how weird we can get things to be. Could be really cool. Could just be an episode of Bob's Burgers. Either way, just call it Burger Time. There you go. And my last one here, again, I'm surprised this has never actually happened before. Just because it seems like I'd just be like, yeah, you think someone would have tried this. Maybe they have, and I'm an idiot. Paperboy. Here's my pitch for Paperboy. It's not complicated. It's kind of like, that classic It Chapter 2, It Chapter 1 feeling, Stranger Things feeling. It's the 80s. These kids are like into Ghostbusters and crap, and they're not cool or popular. We follow one of those kids, get Finn Wolfhard to play him. He does every fucking thing. And this kid is just like trying to become a paperboy. Well, maybe Finn's a little too old now. Jacob Tremblay, I guess. He's the next one. This kid's trying to like become a paperboy. He's doing this stuff. He gets lost in like a scary neighborhood, and things are starting to freak him out. It could be like a very horror-centered story. Maybe like the like style of characters, like some slashers start to appear and chase him, or he thinks he's seeing monsters and ghosts and everything. Kind of like a Scooby-Doo thing where he thinks he's seeing like this weird ghost, but it could just be something else. And he's trying to evade and get out of the neighborhood, but he gets lost in it and he can't find his way out. So we follow the paperboy on his bike, trying to deliver his last paper to the in the neighborhood. He can't find his way out, and things are chasing him, and he's going on like a really fun escapade. And your classic 80s style. Come on. That writes itself. That is a movie somebody would make. It's got your classic old school John Carpenter vibes. Why hasn't it been made? Because nobody wants to take Paperboy. That's a terrible title. Nobody wants to play with it. But that's all I got. I just took 10 arcade games, your retro classic games you'd find in any arcade back in the day, and I said, let's turn these into movies. Y'all love it, or you don't. I don't really care. All I'm saying is, let's never adapt any of these, because there's so many other things we could play with and have fun exploring. And I don't want to do it anymore. I read my list, and it was a fun thought exercise, and that's something I like doing when it comes to the GeekWave. Even if it's not something I'm like, oh, this is a great idea. I'm just like, let's take these franchises, these existing IPs, and try to salvage some sort of a thing out of it. Even if we don't do a good job, it's great to have that thought process, because you never know, as a writer, you never know when you're randomly going to like wake up and realize you have to adapt something for you. So those are my pitches. Pacman is an action adventure. Space invaders and androids. Science fiction stuff. Same with Centipede. Frogger's a comedy about a paranoid frog. Donkey Kong's just Donkey Kong. Q*bert's the Hunger Games / Fortnite. Dig Dug is Minecraft. Burger Time is Bob's Burgers meets Some Like It Hot. Paperboy, Stranger Things kid stuff. You get it. You love it. You enjoy it. That's my list. Would you guys have any other games? Please let me know. If you have like a game, if you have a good pitch for Tetris, please let me know. Because I don't. Or that Brick Breaker game. I don't have one for that either. Just Demolition, I guess. That's just Wreck-It Ralph, I think. And as always, when we end things here on the GeekWave, I like to leave you guys with some recommendations on stuff to read or watch or experience, starting with Lady Killer. I've talked at length about it on my other show, The Favorite Comics. It's great. It's perfect. It's fantastic. Read it and enjoy that world. Of course, go read classic G.I. Joe and watch the cartoon. I think Hasbro still runs some bullshit with it every other day. Could be a fun area to explore. If you can find some old arcade cabinet for any of these games, my recommendations for you from these 10 games are Pacman, Frogger, Asteroids, and Paperboy. I think they're all really fun. You should play them and have a good experience with those. And it might be a little shorter here at the Geek Wave, but that doesn't mean the wave will stop. We're going to be back hopefully next week very soon. And of course, if you guys have any topics you'd like to see me explore on the Geek Wave, please let me know. Because I'm always looking for content and stuff you guys want me to do, just because it builds up an audience that way. I appreciate it. If you're listening to this on the podcast feed, give us a rating over there. It definitely helps out. And on the podcast feed, my email is always there. If you do have some suggestions, you can reach me that way. Now, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, OnlyFans, and a bunch of other good stuff. And as always, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun, stay safe, good luck.